so used to like saying, oh, you this, you that, you this, you that. But sometimes we don't look internally, or we don't look at ourselves, because for us it's easier to look at the others, judge others, and try to change others than change ourselves. So I feel like that's where we have to start. We have to start by examining our heart. We have to do, daily, I guess we can call it like a daily meditation, where we are just like ourselves, and we honestly, ask ourselves, well, what can I improve? Or what are some areas that I should clean, we could say clean, or what are things that I've allowed to come into my heart? Because the Proverbs here, it says, for everything you do flows from it. Well, the thing is that our heart determines the way our life goes. Because anger into our hearts, then it's going to determine everything that we do to be bitter, or everything that we see to be bitter. If we allow intimidation, for example, in our hearts, then we're going to live with that fear inside of us. And that intimidation is going to stop us from doing a lot of things. And that's going to stop us from going forward to things that we have, or goals that we have, because we allowed intimidation into our heart. And again, if we allow bitterness in our hearts, then that bitterness will stop us from reaching the good things in our life, or it's going to block our view from the good things of our life, because we're going to find everything to be bitter, because we allowed bitterness into our hearts. And then, like I said, we have to do that daily examination of ourselves, because it's so easy for pride to invade. It's so easy for lack of forgiveness to invade, or even doubt to invade. So all of those things can come and contaminate our heart. And what I think of it, what I've always think of it, because this verse says, for everything you do flows from it, I always think of our hearts as rivers. So if you allow contamination to come out, then you're going to have a polluted river coming out of you. And that's when it starts affecting our surroundings, not just ourselves, but it starts bleeding into other places. And it starts bleeding into our families. It starts, running through our friends, marriage, so much, because everything that we allow into our heart flows out of our heart. And I was just looking through my social media today, and I saw this post. I forgot who posted it, but I found this post. Only the healed can heal. And what that post was talking about was that only if we allow healing in ourselves will we be able to help others to heal. Because if not, then we are just going to bleed pain into others. And like I said, we're going to contaminate others. We ourselves are going to become we ourselves are going to others or pollute others, because we haven't guarded what we allow inside. And I know, like, it's so simple to say, but it's not an easy task to do. And that's the thing, that so many things are simple, but they're not always easy, because we go through stuff in our lives that we could say right to hold anger, or to hold bitterness, or to hold lack of forgiveness. There are moments in life that will give you the right to do that, but God calls us to forgive. God calls us to be the light. God calls us to pour love into others and to give with grace what we have received by grace. So when we guard our hearts and when we examine ourselves day by day, then not only are we going to be healthier and not even healthier, but closer to God and everything, but we are also going to bless others because we have a healthy heart, that good comes out of it. Good comes out of our heart, and we can bless others and we can help those that still need healing and heal. So we become a blessing to others around us, not just for ourselves. So I believe that everything God gives us is for us to use it as a blessing for others. It's not just for us to keep it to ourselves. It's like the parable with the talents, you know, that kept talents to himself. He later at the end, the master was mad at him because he kept it to himself. So everything that we receive from God, we are called to use it to bless others. So if we receive forgiveness, then we're called to give forgiveness.
Yeah.
If we receive God, then we're called to give love to others. And if we receive patience from God, then we are called to, you know, into others as well. So I feel like it's so important for us and for us believers, and even if you're not a believer, you can see so many research that tells you that if you forgive others, that if you live a happier life, then you're gonna live a healthier life. It has so many benefits to your health, to to forgive others, to, you know, find joy in the moments, even to be grateful. There are many research that says that if you every day you write something that you are thankful about, it boosts your health because you have a different mentality. It changes your mentality when you wake up and the first thing you do is you say, thank you for this, thank you for that. So it changes your perspective. I think it's very important for all of us to just take a moment and say, well, what have I allowed into my heart? Or what do I need to take out of my heart so I can become, let's say, a better friend, a better spouse, or family member, a better sister, brother, daughter, parent, etc. Because, like I said, everything flows.
Yeah.
And we want to be a blessing to others, you know? So even in our marriages and friendships, it's so important to guard our hearts because we want to grow, but we also want others around us to grow, and we want to help them with that, you know?
Yeah. And I think,
and I don't know if you have, you know, anything to say about that.
no, yeah, I agree. I think that it's super hard to check, like, to check oneself and to like try to see where we need to improve. And I think that it's like you have told me, we spoke about, you know, that I think that one of the things that helps like really see what you like, what you need to improve yourself, like to for me to look at myself and to actually see what I need to improve. It's the moments where not so much where you're praying and you're talking about like a bunch of like, you're like, God, do this for me, or God, open this door, or God, you know, heal this person. Yeah, all that is important. But the silent moments, like you've said, those are the ones where you're able to hear what God has to say about you, you know. And those sometimes can be hard because, like you have said, like it's the moment sometimes where distraction can come and you start thinking about the million things you have to do, or you know, a bunch of random thoughts come in your head. But that's where you have to just stay still and and keep your mind clear for God to speak. And that's where
Right.
really he tells you like, hey, you need to work on that, or you need to change that, or you need to, do this person or whatever, that's where he tells you to do things and to change things in yourself. And I think it's very important to have those moments daily. And one thing that I can say that I do, that I kind of have gotten in a habit of, and I think that it has made me a better person for myself and for others, I think, is when I catch myself judging somebody, because we all have those moments where we're like, oh, that person is this, or oh, that person is that, whatever. When I find myself judging somebody, I tell myself right in that moment, I'm like, how much better are you? Like, I tell myself, like, how much better are you? Like, why are you saying this person is this way? Mejor look at yourself. What do you need to change? God is going to take care of them if you think they're this or they're that. But you
Right.
are responsible for yourself. And that's what I kind of tell myself when I catch myself judging other people. And I think that that has helped me so much, because when you get caught up in like just judging other people, because people are imperfect, there's a lot of things you can point out about others that are deficient, that are really bad. And you're probably right about it most of the time when you point out stuff about people. But you're not responsible for them in this life. You're responsible for yourself, for your self-improvement, for your, you growing as an individual. And not only that, when you stop and you stay on judging people all the time, that is a big distraction from what God has for you. Like, it just like takes time away from what you could have been doing that God already has prepared for you to do. It's like this via from the goal that God has already for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my thought on that.
You said something really important. I feel like I'm so strong on if you point your finger, then remember always three are always pointing back at you. Yeah. So we as humans, and it's normal, we as humans, it's so easy fingers, because like you say, like it's so much easier to see it on others and to catch it on others than to catch it on ourselves. But just like they're imperfect, we have our imperfections as well. And we really have, to take that time to and see like, well, okay, how can I do this better, or how can I be better in this area, and etc. So people, but also we have to take that time, like you say, we have to take those quiet times, because I'm a big person on quiet moments. Like, we have to, our prayer life has to consist of quiet moments, because and we are truly just having a one-way conversation, and it's only us talking, and we're not allowing God to speak into us. So those are sometimes the most crucial moments, because that's when God speaks to our lives, and that's when we're like, you know what, God, that I had not seen it, but thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, no, like, it's super difficult to examine ourselves. It's not easy at all. And that's why it's so easy for us to like look at others, because it's the easy thing to look at others. But I think that you become a better,
it's not in.
¿Cómo? Sorry, I cut off.
It's here to look at others because it's external, like we're seeing it from our point of view, and it's harder to look internally.
Yeah, and especially during this time, I think that it's so easy to like look like just at what is presented to you. And I think that during this time, God wants us to self-examine ourselves the most, because right now, like, the world needs, people that will listen to what God is telling them. And you cannot listen to what God is telling you if you are more focused on other things that are being presented to you, and you're just, you know, judging others, and you know, you're it's just when you focus on all the noise around you, which I know can be pretty easy, it's harder to hear what God is saying to you. And the thing is that when God speaks to you,
Right.
and you're silent, that's where you can actually make a difference. That's where you can actually bring some light into the darkness of this world, because this world is very dark sometimes, you know. And you know, because you like us ourselves, we have really nothing that we can give to this world, but it's when God comes and the Holy Spirit, you know, speaks to us and tells us what we need to do, that's where we can bring a difference. You know, it's kind of like this table talks, you know, God put it in your heart, you took a silent moment to hear him tell you to do this, and it's a way to bring positivity, to bring light, you know. And that's just one quick example that I can, you know, say of how impacting it can be to just be silent and hear what God is saying.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's so important. Um, I mean, many people, like, I know it's very hard to start it. It's very hard to start it because it's like, well, how am I gonna listen to something, you know, like how am I really going to listen? But when you start little by little, even if you start, it makes such a difference because you start realizing how your mind just starts going over and over. It's running at 1,000 miles per hour.
Yeah.
When you start little, like you don't have to spend 30 minutes in quiet time, but if you start with the little and just say, okay, God, you know what, I'm going to 2 minutes to just stay quiet. I might not be the best at it, but I'm giving my best that I have right now, and then he'll work with you because you want to work with him and you are allowing him to work with you and change you and mold you.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, just the message I guess of today is just let yourself, you know, be molded by God. You know, it's definitely not a pleasant thing sometimes to be quiet and hear what God has to say about you, but it's worth it because you become such a better person, and you're able to build better relationships because your heart is becoming healthier. You know, it's a heart that God is molding and working with, and you're able to, you know, let others in because there's nothing that is blocking you from, you know, opening your heart to other people, or not necessarily, you know, just opening your heart, but just being open to having certain relationships around you, because you know you're letting God guide you, you're letting God mold you, you know, through every situation. So yeah, I mean, that's what we have for today. And I don't know if you have some last closing words.
No, I think we covered it all, and like you said, that's the biggest message that we could give. God knows better than us. He will always know better than us, and it's something sometimes so hard to accept because we think we know best for ourselves, but we always have to remember that God has better plans for us, and even the Bible says that He has plans for us that no eye has heard and no mind has conceived. So we just have to rest in that truth and know that He is working every single piece out.
Yeah, that's so true. And I just want to say that, well, this is kind of out of the plan, but I just wanted to add here because I know some people that, you know, don't go to our church are watching, that we are praying for a lady from our church that is going through a difficult time right now. She's basically fighting for her life, and her name is Rosa Elena. So I just wanted to add on here that if you can join us in prayer for her healing, that we would appreciate it. She's a wonderful lady that has given so much, and um, we just appreciate her so much, and we just would like to extend that for anybody that wants to join in prayer. And if you have anything that you want us to pray about, you can always comment it. Me and Sarah can pray about it, on our prayer individually for you guys. So just let us know. We would definitely, love to do that. So, but thank you so much, you guys, for joining again in our table talks. And when would the next table talks be, Sarah?
Next one, let me pull up the calendar, would be the 27th.
Okay, so the 27th at 6 p.m. we will see you guys again.
Yes.
Bye.
All right. Bye.